Have you ever heard about a great flood covering the entire world? On the World Full of Secrets, we dive into mysteries like this. The story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood is one of the most enduring tales in history. Passed down through generations, it tells of a time when the earth was consumed by a cataclysmic flood. Imagine a world where only the highest mountain peaks remained above the waterline. This flood wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a divine judgment upon a world consumed by wickedness. The story tells us that God, observing the depravity of humankind, decided to cleanse the earth and start anew. Only one man found favor in God's eyes: Noah. A righteous and God-fearing man, Noah was chosen to undertake a monumental task. He was to build an ark, a massive vessel capable of withstanding the coming deluge. The story of the flood can be found in various ancient texts and traditions worldwide. While the details might differ, the core narrative remains remarkably consistent. Could there be physical evidence of the ark? Join us on Expedition Unknown as we explore this and other mysteries. Noah was no ordinary shipbuilder. He received divine instructions directly from God. Can you imagine being tasked with such an enormous responsibility to build a vessel large enough to house 2 of every living creature on Earth? The task seems almost impossible. The Bible provides specific dimensions for the ark. It was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, approximately 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. To put this into perspective, the ark was longer than a football field and taller than a 4-story building. Building a wooden structure of this magnitude, even today, would be an incredible feat of engineering. The Bible tells us that the ark was constructed from gopher wood. What exactly gopher wood refers to remains a subject of debate among scholars. Some believe it to be cypress or cedar, both known for their durability and resistance to decay. The wood was coated inside and out with pitch, a sticky, waterproof substance derived from tree resin. Noah and his family, along with a multitude of workers, toiled tirelessly for years, perhaps even decades, to complete the ark. The ark wasn't just a giant floating box. Its design was surprisingly sophisticated. God instructed Noah to build the ark with 3 decks, dividing the interior into numerous compartments or rooms. This ingenious design served multiple purposes. First, it provided the necessary structural support for such a large wooden vessel. The multiple decks, interconnected by beams and pillars, would have distributed the weight evenly, preventing the ark from collapsing under its own weight. Second, the compartments allowed for the efficient organization and separation of the animals. Herbivores could be kept separate from carnivores, minimizing the risk of conflict. Ventilation was another crucial consideration. With so many animals confined within the ark, proper airflow was essential to prevent the buildup of toxic fumes and diseases. The Bible mentions a window in the ark, which some scholars interpret as a series of openings, or a long, narrow opening running along the top of the vessel. This would have allowed for fresh air to circulate while also providing some natural light. Section 4. Gathering of the animals. Imagine the logistical challenge of gathering 2 of every kind of animal on Earth. The Bible tells us that God brought the animals to Noah, but how did they all fit? The sheer diversity of life on our planet is staggering, from tiny insects to massive elephants. Some scholars believe that Noah didn't necessarily need to gather every single species. Instead, he may have collected representative pairs from the major animal kinds. For example, instead of 2 of every type of dog, Noah may have only taken 2 canine ancestors, from which all modern dog breeds descended. This interpretation helps to reconcile the seemingly impossible task of fitting all animals on the ark. The animals would have required vast quantities of food and water to survive the flood. The Bible tells us that Noah brought on board all food that is eaten and drink. This would have included grains, fruits, vegetables, and likely dried meat for the carnivores. Storing and preserving such a massive amount of food for an unspecified period, potentially for months, would have been a monumental task. Section 5. The Deluge. The day finally arrived. The skies, once clear and blue, turned a foreboding gray as storm clouds gathered on the horizon. The rains began, not a gentle drizzle, but a torrential downpour unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Bible describes the waters of the flood as bursting forth from the heavens and the fountains of the great deep. Rivers overflowed their banks, swallowing entire villages. The earth, once teeming with life, was slowly being consumed by the relentless deluge. For 40 days and 40 nights the rains continued unabated. The waters rose higher and higher, lifting the ark and carrying it away from its familiar moorings. The world outside the ark's wooden walls was a maelstrom of raging water, howling winds, and the terrifying cries of drowning animals. Inside, Noah, his family, and the animals rode out the storm, their fate entrusted to the sturdy vessel. Imagine the cacophony of sounds within the ark, the creaking of timbers, the pounding of rain on the roof, the roar of the wind, and the mingled cries of countless animals. Yet, amidst the chaos, there was a sense of strange tranquility. Noah and his family had faith in God's promise, the promise of salvation and a new beginning. Section 6. A New Beginning. After months at sea, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters receded, slowly revealing the ravaged landscape. The world that emerged from the flood was a desolate wasteland, stripped bare of life. Noah, his family, and the animals disembarked, stepping onto the mud and debris of a reborn world. The air was filled with the sounds of birdsong, a symphony of life celebrating its newfound freedom. Noah built an altar and offered sacrifices to God, expressing his gratitude for their deliverance. God, pleased with Noah's faithfulness, made a covenant with him, promising never again to destroy the earth with a flood. As a sign of this covenant, God placed a rainbow in the sky, a symbol of hope and a reminder of his promise. The story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood teaches us about the consequences of wickedness, the importance of righteousness, and the power of faith. Section 7. Unanswered Questions. The story of Noah's Ark continues to captivate our imaginations, raising as many questions as it answers. Was the flood a global event, or was it a more localized catastrophe? Where did Noah find the wood to build such a massive ark, and how did he acquire the necessary shipbuilding skills? How did he manage to gather and care for such a vast menagerie of animals? Despite centuries of research and exploration, definitive answers to these questions remain elusive. Some believe the ark is still out there, entombed in ice atop Mount Ararat, awaiting discovery. Others dismiss the story as pure myth, a cautionary tale passed down through generations. Whether the story of Noah's Ark is a literal historical account or an allegorical tale, its message continues to resonate with people across cultures and throughout time. It reminds us of the destructive power of nature, the importance of heeding warnings, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.